So I texted you last night saying that a big portion of the show may have to be a full-blown therapy session for what my eyes had to go through last night watching UFC 261.
I need
That
it.
was
After
that was
watching that, I need it.
that was uh that was gruesome,
Yeah,
to
that
say
was
the
tough on
least.
the eyes. Very tough on the eyes.
I mean, that that is just like I probably watched it 100 times today, and every time you can feel the pain. And I
Ugh.
immediately tweeted out after it happened. If you don't know, everybody, Chris Weidman broke his leg horrifically last night at UFC 261, which we will get into later in the show. But I tweeted out after, I said, A, I'm going to throw up after seeing that. And B, I am petrified to stand up right now and use my legs because I feel my bones every step I take.
Do you want to hear what they have? I'm just looking at results and how they scored them. This is the results for that fight. It says TKO, injury, snapped leg.
Oh my God. Like,
That's it. They just scored it. Snapped leg.
it's so bad, man. Like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even like look at it. Like I was like, this is too much. This is too much.
Uh
My brain is overstimulated and I cannot take this
yeah,
right
that
now.
was disgusting.
Yeah, it's whatever. Oh geez. Well, welcome back everybody to Taking All Bets, episode 14, I think.
Yeah,
Continuing with
14.
this short format episodes. So again, every Monday, as this will come out, Wednesday and Friday every week, we're coming at you hot and ready. A lot of content coming your way. So stay tuned for that. Um, so how's your weekend been, bud?
You know what? It's been pretty good. Saturday was real nice day filled with sports, and I can't complain about that. What about you?
Um, well, yesterday I didn't get dressed until I don't know 6:30 at night, and somebody pointed that out to me. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They're like, "Oh, the day's getting away on you, eh?" And I was like, "There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Why would I get dressed?" I was like, "I'm going completely casual today." So
You know
that's
what?
how my weekend's been.
It's a pretty good point, and it's the way it's been for a while now for a lot of us here, I guess, in Ontario. Some people, I'm jealous. I'm looking at the states now. They're all out at bars. They're all living life again, and we're stuck in the house still.
Well, that was like 261 last night. Like everybody was like the crowd was packed, and Dana White was saying the bars were full, and it was like just it's just really happening down there, you
That
know?
was that was really nice to see, though. It's bringing all the fans back into sports. It's such a relief almost.
Yeah, I mean, like UFC was the first one, I believe the first ones that have had full capacity
They were
in a
well
sport.
through this whole thing. They were the first ones to come back. I mean, I guess they never really stopped, right? They got that island, the fight island, going soon after this all happened last year, or it all started, and then they never really looked back. They were able to continue on, and they were the first sport that was back at like normal.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what they've done. Now we'll see, 2 weeks from now how that worked out and whether the cases spiked or whatnot down in Jacksonville. But we'll get into all that in a bit. First, I want to talk about this is actually a real like feel good story, Kurt. Um, it came out, I guess, on the Saturday Hockey Night in Canada broadcast. Elliot Friedman reported that the Toronto Maple Leafs have this sort of the players on the Maple Leafs, the high end uh, players who make all the money, they have this sort of money pool going on where they all chip in some money and they will give it to their AHL affiliate, the Toronto Marlies. And it came out what wasn't it came out in an interview after as well after the game with John Tavares. Like somebody asked him about it, and I think he was just like, "Oh, I guess we didn't keep that secret enough." So like they didn't want any publicity for it. They were doing it completely in the background. Didn't want anybody to know, and it's just kind of like a cool move though. Like Jason Spezza was the one that came up with this idea. And obviously he's making league minimum, but like he's made millions in his career. And so anybody on the team who has made money or is currently making a lot of money chips in and gives it to their AHL affiliate and the AHL players.
Yeah, a feel good story was a good way to put it. That's you just you like to see that from your veterans taking care of guys, especially in the AHL, who they got to pay for a lot of extra stuff. They don't get the type of travel plans the NHL guys do, right? Like those expensive flights. They're
Mhm.
traveling by bus. Hotels aren't the same, so it's nice to see the NHL guys making a lot. I guess taking care of those guys.
Well, I saw that um, league minimum in the AHL is 51,000, something like that. And
Really,
then and then
I that's lower than I thought it was, to be honest.
it's kind of like the same thing with like baseball players. Like if you play like double A baseball, you make like
Yeah,
35 grand a year. Like you make nothing.
yeah.
Um, but in hockey in the AHL, which is like the triple A of the NHL, is $51,000 is league minimum. And then when you take into account all the cuts, like the pay cuts they had to take because of COVID, right? And
I was
then you
actually
add taxes onto that, they only take home like $24,000.
I was actually going to ask about that. I didn't know how the AHL was basically like, are those salaries prorated? Or how does that work with the changes from COVID? I didn't know if that factored into this decision from the veterans, if there was a change, but I
I think it
guess,
did.
yeah, it
Yeah.
must have, right?
So yeah, I mean, they're taking home like 24 grand a year. Like that's basically like that's poverty level.
Yeah,
Like
honestly,
that's
that,
nothing.
yeah.
And I know that Paul Bissonnette, he was doing a pool or like a fund, I guess, for ECHL players, which I'm guessing league minimum was it
That'd be even,
5 grand down there? Like it's like
yeah, like
nothing.
that'd be even lower.
So I mean, because he's played in the ECHL, so he knows how guys are playing professional hockey, yes, but they are barely scraping by doing that.
You got to have a lot of
Um,
respect for those guys too, who grind it out in the ECHL, make it to the AHL, and eventually are able to sustain like an NHL career after going through that
mhm,
because it's a grind. Like and like you just
right.
explained, the money wise, like it's tough for a lot of them for a lot of years.
Yeah, like there or guys, yeah, that just like get into the AHL and they just bounce around and they keep grinding and they make it eventually. Jordan Bennington being probably the most famous one recently that's done that. He just signed another massive contract. What was it, 6 years, 36 mil or
Yeah,
something like
something
that?
along those lines. Yeah,
So I mean, this guy bounces around the AHL for years, making league minimum and barely getting by sometimes and whatever, and now he's gonna be set for life, and his kids are gonna be set for life. So like that's pretty cool. Um,
Jack Campbell's got a guy that played a lot too and down in the AHL before now. Like how old is he? 29, 30? Like he played a
yeah,
lot in the AHL.
29. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. His thing was mostly injuries, but still, like I mean, to stick with it, it's like that. Uh, I forget his first name, but that Mercedes, that catcher for the White Sox,
Oh
he
yeah,
like 2011, he was drafted, I think. And then was in the minor leagues for 10 plus years. Finally gets a call up to the White Sox, and in his first 8 at bats, he goes 8 for 8.
yeah.
That's wild.
That's a perfect example of a guy you can't cheer against. You got to root for guys like
Oh,
that.
yeah. You cheer for those guys day in, day out because you know how hard they work to get there.
Absolutely. And
Um,
you can see it on their teammates' faces too, how happy they are when those guys get that opportunity and to see them succeed like that. Like 8 for 8, that's incredible to start the year.
yeah, like I mean, it's just wild, like that the guy went that long in the minors, right? And never got a sniff. And he finally gets one, and boy does he capitalize on. Like he's still like last time I checked, like it's obviously it would be different now. Um, but he was like 21 for 43. Like he was still like in 30 at bats, he was still hitting like 300. Like it was wild.
I'm gonna take a
But
look
yeah,
here. So Yerman Mercedes, let's see.
yeah.
On the year, he is hitting his average is 424 right now.
Hmm.
So 4 homers. He's got 15 RBIs. Wow. Slugging
Wow.
682, 465 OBP. So yeah, an incredible start to the year.
So what's his hits to at bats?
So in 66 at bats,
Yeah.
28 hits.
Like, that's still not bad.
No, well, I mean, it's a 424 batting average. I think that's incredible
Yeah.
if he can sustain that. Like anything, well, obviously
Anything
that's not
close to that.
sustainable, but
Yeah.
like anything above usually what we'd say like 285 is you're one of the better hitters in the game.
Yeah. It's weird how that's changed over the years, eh? Where like years ago it was like if you're a 300 hitter, you're really, really good. And now it's like if you hit 280, people are looking at you and are like, Jesus, this guy might win the batting title. Like it's
Isn't it?
just like so different, the
When I,
leagues now.
yeah, when I always try and tell people how difficult baseball is as a sport, I always say it's the only sport where you are successful 3 out of 10 times and you're classified as one
Yeah.
of the best players in the world.
That's what Pete Rose always said. He's like, it's the only job where you can fail 70% of the time and be considered good at it.
Yeah, I'm one of the best
Like,
in the world.
yeah. He I mean Ted Williams always said it was the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a round ball with a round bat, which is true.
It's very true.
I think it is the hardest to play. It's so weird. Like there's different ways you can like look at it. I think the hardest thing to do is to hit a baseball. I think the most encompassing sport is probably hockey, just because you're hitting. Yeah, like there's skill, there's speed, there's size, all that encompassed. Plus, you're on skates,
You're doing it on 1 inch steel blades.
right? And there's two Olympic sports that are just for doing that,
Yeah.
just for skating. The most frustrating is probably golf because the thing is just sitting there and you just got to hit it, and it can go wildly wrong.
I always say though, like golf, at least you have the ability to control it, right? Like
Hmm.
it's your swing. Baseball, that the pitcher is controlling where that ball is located in the zone. So you
Yeah,
you have to do with what you can with that pitch. You don't choose where that ball's being thrown, right? So that's
yeah.
why hitting is the most difficult thing in all sports.
It's weird because like baseball is the only sport where the defense controls the ball the entire time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like it's very weird that way. But yeah, so just a real good feel good story from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I don't see those meatheads down in B Town doing anything like that. So um, check another one off for the boys in blue. Um, we'll move on to the uh, big thing that happened this weekend. UFC 261 went off really without a hitch, which is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty exciting, like Kurt said, to see fans back in the buildings and full capacity sporting events. Um, and it was just a great night of fights all around. Kamaru Usman defeated Jorge Masvidal with a knockout with a right hand that nobody really saw coming. They just expected Usman to be a wrestler in that situation because Masvidal is just so dangerous on his feet, but Usman proved everyone wrong.
Yeah, I was actually glad to see that because like you just said, it was a change of pace from what we expected, change of pace from the first fight we saw. But I thought it was gonna go the distance just because he was way more prepared this time around, right? Jorge
Hmm.
Masvidal didn't have to cut weight with 2 weeks before the fight. He didn't like he was way more prepared, got a full camp out of this. So I was a little surprised, but it just shows how dominant Usman can be. And I mean, he's shown that for a while now, but he's out there pound for pound. He's
Yeah.
one of the best right now, if not so the best. So yeah, that was just an absolute dominant performance from him again.
Well, I noticed that I like less than like 5 seconds before the knockout. Masvidal ate a pretty healthy right hand, and
Yeah.
he just started smiling and laughing at Usman. Like basically was like, "Is that the best you got?" And Usman's like, "Mm-mm, this is the best I got,"
And it's like
and then
just you
just
wait.
clocked him. Yeah, just I mean, it was a good like overall, it was a great night of fights. Um, I think that Dana White has said they're going to do like a UFC Africa thing or something because they got Ngannou, Usman, and Adesanya all from Africa, all champions
Champions.
right now. Who knows by the time because he says 2022 they want to go,
That'd be pretty
but
neat.
an Africa card, and he wants all three champions to be on the card defending their belts. That would be wild.
That'd be wicked. Yeah. I saw I saw a meme too about that knockout. It was, I guess it was like the spit and the sweat from Masvidal when he hit him with the punch.
Oh yeah.
They were like, wow, Masvidal looks like Drake from the Sprite commercial. They showed the clip. It's pretty accurate.
I mean, it was such a hard right hand, and like they were talking about like people were doubting that like Usman could do something like that. Or they call him like a boring fighter. They call him a wrestler. Like didn't think he had that kind of skill
Very
set. Well,
tactical.
yeah. Well, I think he's proven now that he's more than just a wrestler.
Oh yeah,
Like,
he like that's what I was saying. He looked so dominant, just incredibly dangerous. He just showed that knockout power, and we all know how good he is on the ground as well, right? And he's such a
mhm.
smart, intelligent fighter. He's so tactical. So yeah, like, he looks as dominant as ever.
Yeah, it's very he's on he I think right now he's pound for pound the greatest. Um and he's on his way to, cementing himself as a Hall of Famer, maybe as the GOAT. But I do hate, and maybe it's because let me know what you think. Maybe it's because it's a new sport. Uh like relatively new compared to the other four major sports. I hate that it seems like every 5 years they're crowning somebody as the new GOAT. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like they're like, this
Yeah.
guy's like they'll be like, this guy's the greatest. There's no weaknesses to his game. He's lethal on his feet. If he takes you to the ground, you're done. He's some submissions, everything. He's the
Yeah.
GOAT. And
It feels
then
like
18 months later, they're like, this guy's the GOAT. And you're like, how the fuck did that happen so quick?
It feels like
Honestly.
every time there's a guy who gets like his 20th fight with a good record and he's put on a couple of good performances, like, well, he could really make a run for one of the greatest pound for pound middleweights or lightweights. That
Oh,
it feels like every other month we're talking about someone else being in that discussion. And like you
yeah.
said, maybe it's because of the recent, like it's fairly new in the grand scheme of things, I guess. But
Right.
it is kind of like it's kind of annoying to hear that every other month.
Well, yeah, it's like you hear that about so many different fighters, like John Jones, he's the greatest, and then you got Khabib, he's the greatest, and then people are talking about Usman, is he the greatest? You're talking about Anderson Silva, GSP, um, Mighty Mouse, Cejudo. Like you got so many different guys that they're like, this guy's the greatest, and you're like, how is that possible?
It's
That's not
also
possible.
Yeah, it's also like the one of the most, if not the most difficult to compare because of the different weight classes, the different
Yeah,
styles. It's incredibly difficult, like unless they fight head to head in their prime too, right? You see guys
right,
calling out. I'll give an example, like the Khabib GSP. If that were to ever happen, well, the age gap, and obviously GSP is not in his prime. How can you even say if Khabib he should win that fight? You know what I mean? Everyone's asking for that fight. I was like, does that really crown him? Because he's not
right.
fighting prime GSP. Like, how can you say you can't say that he's the best if he beats him still because he's not fighting the best version of GSP.
Yeah, it's just like if you want to say he's the greatest at that weight division. Okay, I get that because then you can have multiple greatest of all times, but just to crown one, and really that you're never going to be able to know who is the um greatest fighter ever because they can't or can't fight each other, I should say. I got my mind on boxing because I was thinking about boxing and how like there doesn't seem to be the same like urgency to crown a goat, right? Like there's
Yeah,
only a handful of guys that they ever say are the goats, and it's Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson. Like
Jake
there's four.
Paul.
Okay, Jake Paul was at the fight last
I was
night.
I was gonna say that. That's where I was going with that. He's with my guy AB. Antonio Brown was there too.
He was, and why weren't they sitting with Tom Brady?
I don't know. That's got yeah. Tom Brady was Blaine Gabbert and Mike Evans.
Yeah. So Jake Paul was at the fight, and Daniel Cormier and Jake Paul get right in each other's faces. I think it was before the event. I'm not sure. but they're right in each other's faces. And like Jake Paul has been talking shit about fighting Daniel Cormier, and Daniel Cormier is like, I will knock you the fuck out, bro. Like, you do not want these hands. I will hurt you. And
Oh, I hope so. I want to see that so bad.
I just want to see the kid get his ass kicked, is all I want to see. I want to see a guy go in and for 12 rounds, not knock the kid out, but just hurt him over and
Just
over and over again.
just bully him for 12 rounds.
Yeah. And then just win by this. And then if you want to in the 12th round, just lay a beating on him and get the KO. But I mean, this kid, he just drives me up the wall. But yeah, so a lot of celebrities in attendance, and there's a lot of people, like there's a lot of fights that people want to make now, with Usman particularly. Um, and that is one was Conor McGregor went on Instagram and he was like, "You're stealing my moves, you're stealing my shit talk. Now we're gonna do it." And he put like 175 question mark or something like that.
Wow.
Um, that would be big.
I feel
There's
like Usman would body him though.
I think so too. I think
Yeah.
so too. I mean, you never know. Like McGregor could catch him, but like I think
Yeah.
McGregor, like he's been in so many fights now that like people understand his weaknesses.
Yeah.
Um, so McGregor's one. Somebody brought up Nate Diaz. I was like, ooh, that could be good. But Dana White says that Colby Covington is the number one contender, and that's the fight to make. And Colby Covington, does he still walk around with a MAGA hat on?
I honestly I haven't seen him recently, but I'm pretty sure his last fight he did. So I,
Like,
we'll
I mean,
see
a
if
lot of people like honestly, like I was saying to you before the show, um, whether you agree with him or not, like on his political views, like I don't really give a shit if you agree with him or not. Um, what a genius marketing move. Like, yeah, like if you're like a mid card fighter and you're just kind of like not really, obviously the guy has tons of skill, but if you're just like mid card and you're like, not really going to go anywhere, and you can attach yourself to this fucking train of a political movement like Make America Great Again and Donald Trump, yeah, you're gonna have half the people that hate you, but all of a sudden you're gonna have half the people who just love you just because of that, and they're gonna tune in all your fights, and you're just making money off that shit.
yeah, that I think that's the McGregor impact, right? Like he kind of made that famous. That's why he's the most, I guess, exciting fight because everyone loves or hates him. His fans love him, and everyone else hates him. And that's kind of the same thing. Like Colby Covington has created a fan base where obviously his followers love him, and because of his attachment with Mega, now so many people hate him. So they're all tuning in. He's making a bunch of money. I call that the McGregor impact.
I saw a TikTok just last night. It was so funny. It was from McGregor Mayweather when they're doing the press conference in Toronto, and McGregor's like, "This man is 40 years old, 40 years of age." He's like, walks over, he's like, "You're 40 years of age. Dress your fucking age. Like, you got a school bag with you. What do you got a school bag with you? You can't even fucking read." I started laughing so hard because that number one go to is that Floyd can't read, which is actually insane that he can't.
That's so funny. Is
Remember
he
when he wore the pinstripe suit and the pinstripe spelled out "fuck you" and he was like, "Read that."
is wait, who was it? Was it 50 Cent or something that said, "I'll give you
Oh,
so much money if you if you can read one page of
I'm
what
gonna
was the book?"
I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find that video right now. That is such. I saw that the other day, and I was like, "When is ALS day?" Because
Is
I was gonna play it. Here it is.
oh, here it is.
I hope this is it. Oh, maybe it's just like I think this is like a collage of just him of 50 just like talking so much smack about Floyd. Let's see. Da, 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 da. It is an all-time video. It's so funny. Okay.
Oh, here it
Let's
is.
see it.
This is a special ASLELS challenge for you, Floyd. If you can read one full page of a Harry Potter book, nigga, I'll give 750,000 to whatever charitable organization you want to. Fuck the bucket of ice, man.
If you could read one page of a Harry Potter book.
Yeah, it was a Harry Potter book. That's what it was.
Oh, that's an
Oh man.
all-time video. I love that. Yeah, 50 and Floyd going back at each other. And they would start with like Floyd being like showing his like 50s like album sales and how they've just like torpedoed since basically his first one. And they were like, he would just make fun of how like he's broke. And then 50 would just make fun of how he can't read and how he owed money to the IRS and shit. Like it was just so funny. But yeah, so there's so many fights for Usman right now. But Covington's gonna be the first one in line, as Dana White says. But this is the big part of the show we really wanted to get into today. So I think it was the fourth to last fight, Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman. And they're standing there, they're kind of going, they're just checking each other, whatever. And Chris Weidman throws a right kick and it hits
Oh,
Hall right below the knee, and Chris Weidman's leg snaps and wraps around Uriah Hall's leg. It happens so fast that Weidman doesn't know what happened, and he takes a step backwards onto the leg he just broke, and it folds
ugh.
like a lawn chair, and
Even
he
you,
goes down.
even you describing it's just making me shake right now. It was hard to watch.
So, what we have here, we are going to go through. We're going to start with the Chris Weidman injury. Obviously, it's terrible for Chris Weidman, like one of the best ever in that division. Um, it's just really tough to see. I wanted to see him do well and get back into the title hunt, but title chase. But this is obviously a major setback.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with the Chris Weidman injury, and we are going to go through the worst sports injuries I think of all time. I've got a lot here, so let's start with the Chris Weidman injury.
Chris Weidman has snapped his left.
That is
Oh,
that's something, eh?
just I'm cringing. It's so hard to watch. It just makes you
Oh, Chris
shiver. Just
Weidman. Yeah, again,
ugh.
when he breaks the leg, it's one thing. When he steps on it, that's just that makes you cringe. Oh,
Yeah.
all right, let's keep going on. Let's
Oh,
get the next one. Same type of injury. This happened 8 years ago now. This is
Henderson
Anderson Silva
Silva. Yeah.
versus Chris Weidman.
No way.
Kind of
I
ironic.
forgot. I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
There's a good
God.
shot to the body. Oh, nice. He checked.
Oh!
Oh, he hurt his leg, and it is all over. He
Oh.
broke his leg. Anderson fractured his leg. You can see his leg hanging loose now. Wow. He broke his leg. Unbelievable. What a
There's the
crazy
replay.
ending. It went limp. It snapped.
Oh my God.
Watch this. He checks it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Wow. That's about as obvious as it gets. And as I told you, John Danaher. Oh my God. Goodness. John.
Dude, I don't know if it's just me. I cannot do leg injuries.
No. It
Leg
is
injuries kill me.
just the bone. Just the way his leg just wrapped around. Just like I said, I'm shivering watching these.
If you
Makes you
guys
cringe.
if you guys haven't seen these videos, go look them up. Like we're running through these, but go look them up. They are horrific. Here is what I think the worst sports injury ever. This is Clint Malarchuk playing for the Buffalo Sabres at the time. Clint Malarchuk was a goalie. Um, Basically, I'll kind of run through the play before I play it. Uh, Puck kind of comes down into the corner of the Buffalo Sabres zone. They throw it out front, and the players kind of crash into Clint Malarchuk, and he gets a skate in his neck. This is brutal.
By Krug. Now recovered by Vaughter. Gets it back over the line. Here's the pass. On into the Buffalo zone. Bahar goes to the corner of the pass. And oh, wow.
But watch Malarchuk.
And the blood.
That's the story right now. With
The blood just starts spilling out.
Man. That is the...
Oh, my God.
Oh, please take the camera off it. Don't even bring it over there, please.
Oh, my God.
Just keep it away. Oh.
So within the first 5 seconds of his injury, there is a pool of blood right in front of him from his neck, from a skate cutting it. Like a week later, he did an interview, and his whole neck is all bandaged up. But the thing with Clint Malarchuk was, this is a trigger warning to vegans. He grew up on a pig farm, and when you slaughter a pig, you cut their neck, right? You cut their throat. So he obviously grew up doing this. So when it happened to him, he knew where to reach in and pinch to stop the bleeding, and it saved his life. Like, knowing that saved his life.
Wow. I actually didn't. I think too, he gave credit the trainer how fast he got out there and was able to get the towel on it.
Mhm.
They, as soon as they, like, the ability to get the pressure on it quickly saved his life as well. Though, like, if it was anyone else, they probably would have been dead.
Yeah, like, it's just such a gruesome injury that, like, the first time you watch it, you're like, that is, like, scary. Like, if that happens to you, yeah, like, if it's anybody else, he's probably dead. And you can immediately see that immediately as it happens, as they start seeing the blood come out, they're calling for the trainers, they're calling for doctors, anybody to get out there and try to help this guy, because it's just, oh man. This one is from, actually, like, Clint Malarchuk was before I was even born, before we were even born. But this we would have saw. I remember watching SportsCenter and seeing this in the morning. This is Erik Karlsson when Matt Cook got his skate in on the back of Carlson's leg and severed his Achilles. This is
Put
brutal.
weight on it, Bob. He just winced in pain.
And he just threw a stick. He did that across season. It cost him a 2-game suspension. This one was because of injury. It was Brian Murray, management of the Ottawa Senators, as Carlson's being escorted down the runway, and this is not a good sight for anybody.
So here it is.
Let's take a look.
Into the corner.
Oh, skate.
Oh.
Skate of Matt Cook, like, it came in and hit the Achilles tendon area of Karlsson, and he reaches for it right.
So basically, the puck is going into the corner, and Cook is taking Carlson hard in there. And as he's doing that, his leg comes up, and when it comes back down, it gets in between the boot of the skate and Carlson's leg, and the blade jams itself in there and just slices his leg. I remember right after this happened, playing hockey, our coaches would not let us, like, they made us put our socks over our skates.
Really?
Yeah, like they like, I always used to tuck it in the back like most players do.
Yeah.
And then put the shin pad and everything over the front. And they were like, definitely not. You cannot do that on our team anymore. I was
Wow.
like, okay. Yeah, that's how, like, traumatized the coaches were.
I remember too, Matt Cook got a lot of criticism for this. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he meant to do it, but still
No.
to this day, there's a lot of people who think that was not an accident, just the way he lifted his leg. But I think he was just trying to pin him against the boards. And as they were, like, fighting for the puck, his leg lifted. And unfortunately, like, when he put it back down, it came down on his Achilles tendon. But just because of his reputation, I think a lot of people went at Matt Cook right after that incident.
Yeah. I actually remember that not that long after this happened, the same sort of thing happened actually in the arena that I played. Like it was with a different team. But same sort of thing. Guy got cut, I think, on the back of his calf, and it just started bleeding everywhere. And like people, I guess, like guys were like throwing their t-shirts over the glass, like trying to just give them something to like stop the bleeding with.
Yeah, put pressure
And
on it.
yeah, it was like, I guess, like a full blown panic in the arena after, especially after seeing this
Yeah.
Carlson injury.
Wow.
Next one is 1986. So we're going far back. It's gonna be quick. It's kind of hard to see what happens. But Boreas Salming, who was a defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs at the time, gets cut by a skate on his face. It's one of the most iconic hockey photos is to see Boreas Salming with like 200 plus stitches going from his forehead down to his chin. It's just wild.
Maple Leafs, here's how it happened in the game the
So,
other night against Detroit.
It's very quick.
But here's how it happened.
Gerard Gallant gets pushed back,
in the game the other night,
and Boreas Salming is basically right behind him, laying down on the ice. And when he gets pushed back, Gallant's foot comes up, and when it comes back down, it lands right on Salming's face and just slices it wide open. And there is a photo of Boreas Salming right after this happens. So it's right above his eyebrow. It goes down. This guy's lucky he didn't lose his eye.
Yeah, I'm looking at this photo and just where the stitches are. How does he's very lucky to still have that eye.
Like, oh, that's one of the most. I mean, also, can we just say before we move on, how shitty is that video quality? I mean, how do you watch a hockey game like that? Like, you don't even know who's on the ice. Like, oh, seriously, like this is brutal to watch a game like that.
Yeah, I mean, it is 1986, so
yeah, it's whatever. They could have invested in some.
This one too. Oh God, Alex Smith,
the recently retired Alex Smith. We had to show it. Was this not on the same day as Joe Theismann?
Like the same day? Yeah, it was almost like it was an anniversary. I don't know how many years, but I'm pretty sure it was the anniversary of the Joe Theismann one.
And they both played for the Redskins at the time. Sorry,
Washington.
The Washington Football Club. So they played for them. And yeah, this one is brutal here. As you see, they're chasing him down, and it's just like a pile up.
It's a gruesome leg injury. You're going to see a replay. Look away. It is a graphic injury. It looks like Alex Smith.
I can't even
broken
watch.
his leg. In the city where Joe Theismann's terrible injury. Oh
my God!
Terrible injury happened all those years.
It's multiple fractures in that leg. He almost died from that.
Yeah,
like he had to go to the hospital, and they were like, he had surgery on it, and he got an infection from the surgery, right?
Yeah,
and they were like, this could kill him, or we have to cut off his leg. And the wife was like, cut off his leg, like just don't let him die. And I think they were about to do it. I think the infection was getting better or something like that. It just
how incredible was his comeback story last year, though? Just to see him be able to not even like walk and then play football, but play NFL football again. And Washington made the playoffs, like thanks to him. He played an integral role in getting them back to the playoffs. So that was an incredible comeback story for sure.
Yeah, it's I'm not surprised he retired, but again, it's still just a great story. As we were just talking about Joe Theismann, who I think his name, I could be wrong. I think his actual name was Joe Theismann. But when he won the Heisman, they called him Joe Theismann, which is just hilarious. But same sort of deal.
Stuff begins to randomly
playing the quarterback position. Oh, Sandra Bullock's in this video. I like that.
First bone.
Here we go.
This is the blind side video, right?
Yeah.
That's why she's
and broken. That's a broken leg. That's a broken leg. If we can get a freeze frame.
I am struggling to watch these. These are so difficult to watch.
If there can be a freeze
has been
frame.
From the time he stepped onto the field as a rookie.
Freeze frame. broken. God, these are tough. I mean, yeah, this is just like a make Kurt sick episode.
Yeah, this when you said we need a therapy, I am going to need a therapy session for sure after watching these.
This is just make Kurt throw up time.
Yeah.
This one, not a lot of people talk about, but this is brutal. Giancarlo Stanton, when he was playing for the Miami Marlins, playing against Milwaukee Brewers, Mike Fiers on the mound. Well, you'll see what happens, Kurt.
Oh my gosh. That ball hit Stanton right up in the face area. It looked like his hands.
So Mike Fiers throws an 88-mile-an-hour fastball, I'm going to guess. And Stanton turns into it like to defend himself. Like he's trying to get the bat in front of him in his hands. And he turns right into this pitch and it hits him square in the face. When he came back, he started wearing that chin guard. And that's where all these chin guards now you see in baseball come from, is from this play. Like this is just that's a brutal one.
Yeah, I remember waking up watching SportsCenter, seeing that. That's another one. Just makes you cringe right to the face. A fast. Just think about how that feels to get one to the back or like to the thigh, to the face. Like, can't imagine that. Like, I can't imagine how that feels.
It's so like you would instantly be like, my teeth are gone, my face is broken. Like, am I dead? That would be what I'm thinking. Am I dead? This one, I remember watching the game as this happened. Gordon Hayward goes up for an alley-oop and comes down, and his ankle or his foot is directed in not the direction it should be, and his ankle does not bend this way.
Is it Gordon?
Probably hit the biggest shot.
Here it is.
Oh,
you can hear it.
Hayward came down so hard. Okay. Hayward broke his leg. Hayward is
broken
his leg. Honestly, the first time I saw this, I go, "Oh, his shoe is off." I go, "His shoe just kind of came off." That's all.
Oh my gosh.
And then I saw his ankle, and I go, "Oh no, his foot is in that shoe that is bent in the wrong direction." That is such.
Was it
opening night? 6 minutes into the game.
Wasn't it Gordon Hayward that broke his, or no, was that Paul George? I thought Gordon Hayward broke his leg too.
Oh no, we'll get it. We'll get to the Paul George one. That one's still coming. I don't think Gordon Hayward.
No, never mind.
No, I don't think he broke his leg.
This is the one I was thinking of, actually.
Yeah. This is I wonder, I think this might be right after he signed with the Celtics.
I think that was the first year. Like that was the first game.
Oh my God, that one, like that freeze frame.
I am struggling to watch these, and I know which one's next. Like it's like it keeps getting worse and worse.
Well, we only got one left, Kurt. So it's all right. It's all right. Go to your happy place. Paul George breaks his leg, and
oh my gosh,
this one is again, if you haven't seen these and you have somewhat of a strong stomach, go look these up. These are bad.
Uniform, that is. Eric Rose a little bit too fast for his own good. Nice contest, but a foul. Paul George ran into the stanchion.
Oh my God. Do you know how much force?
I have to look away.
Do you know how much force is coming down with that? He just jumped up to block a shot, and when he came back down, his leg snapped like a twig. Oh my God. That one is so bad. That's the last.
There's one more we didn't play, but I know in the NCAA, the March Madness, I don't know if it was like 2016, maybe 2015, I'm guessing, I think it was Kevin White, Louisville. I'm trying to think, but there was a similar situation. His leg just snapped in half.
Like that.
Just snapped in half. Just another one, just tough on the eyes. Are we gonna do some picks?
Yeah. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. The whole taking all bets part of this thing, and we don't actually give out any bets.
We We're not holding true to our name.
People who will be listening to this for the first time, like I've tuned in to hear about bets, and if you haven't heard this already, we barely talk about that shit. We just talk about whatever we want, okay? And sometimes we forget to give bets, okay? But we will give them. So what do you got, Kurt?
Let me take a look here for you. My screen, one sec.
No worries.
All right. Yeah, we figured it out. A little technical difficulty there, but I got them for you. We're taking, so these are for Monday. We're taking the Predators over the Panthers, Coyotes over the Sharks, Athletics over the Rays, and the Suns over the Knicks.
You got a full slate there, eh?
Yep. I gotta give the listeners some options, but another can't lose parlay for you.
How many of those do you actually win?
Not enough.
Not enough. There could always be more.
Yeah, I had a tough day at the office on the weekend, so Saturday.
It's whatever. It happens.
But yeah, we battle. We move on. We get ready for the next one.
I'm gonna give you some light picks. I'm not gonna go too in deep. I'm gonna take Calgary over Montreal Monday night. That's at 6:30 Eastern, and then at 7:00 Eastern, I'm gonna go with Vancouver over Ottawa. Vancouver's just playing really well after coming off COVID, and Montreal has just been wildly inconsistent. So that's why I'm going to take Calgary in that one. So that's all I got for this week, or this episode, I should say. Not this week. We do multiple a week now.
We're up to 3 a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
3 a week. This is more than I work at my actual job. I'm doing 3 of these a week.
Wait, this isn't your actual job?
No, this is not. If you didn't know, I'm the CEO of Scotiabank. And yeah, I've had people who are not happy with this show, but actually there was a hilarious, before we go, there was a guy, it was like a Vice documentary, and it was following the guy who was working with Rob Ford when he was going through like his addiction struggles. And so this guy just followed him around and was kind of showing some other people who he had worked with. And this one guy was from Toronto, and he was like this tech, like he made millions off some like tech thing. And he had an apartment or a condo right across from the RBC building. And I guess he was partying one night, like late, like into like the mid morning and, or late morning, I should say. And he gets a call from the CEO of RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, to tell him to get the hookers away from the window because productivity on the west side of the building is shit right now. Everyone's just watching. Nobody's watching over people's finances. There's something way more important going on right now.
That's funny.
What a hilarious, just part of that documentary. It's wild. All right, everybody. We'll see you again Wednesday.